Yeah, I'm going right now. All right.
America! Demand!
MJP!
I want
MJP!
I want my
MJP!
I want my
MJP!
Call your cable company and say I want my
MJP! Guess who's back? Back again. Mikey's back. Tell a friend. Hey everybody, here we are with another live stream today. Today we're going to be doing some NBA2k retro 80s playback. I got a couple of seasons, 2 seasons I'm going to show here, and yeah, we're not going to waste any time, and we're going to get down into it. So, we're going to start everything by taking a look at my rosters that I got set up here. And here is a look at the 76ers. We got Moses Malone, Dr. J. I got a rookie Charles Barkley on that team. Bobby Jones, Doug Collins, Hershey Hawkins, and Maurice Cheeks. Because what the deal is that I'd really like to play the NBA eras on, but that is unavailable on the Nintendo Switch version and the PC version on Steam, as we get a look at the Milwaukee Bucks. And then here is Rookie Jordan on his team, and he's got Reggie Theus and George Gervin and Charles Oakley. Not a real great squad, but that's what he's working with nonetheless, because we do have Kobe and LeBron and Steph Curry, all as rookies in this league as well. Here's the Cavaliers with Mark Price, Brad Daugherty, Larry Nance, World B. Free, Hot Rod Williams, Craig Elo, etc. So they're a good team. And then here is the Boston Celtics. Of course, they got Bird, McHale, and Parrish. Dennis Johnson, Bill Walton coming in off the bench, Reggie Lewis, Len Bias, Danny Ainge. And then I look at the Clippers. They got Bob McAdoo, World B. Free, Ron Harper, Danny Manning, and Norm Nixon, Sidney Wick. So it's not an exact, year from the 80s as much as it's just like a best of. And here's Steph Curry. I put him on the Grizzlies because I needed to fill out some extra teams. And they got Big Country, Bryant Reeves, Greg Anthony, Eddie Jones, Damon Stoudemire, Bobby Jackson. So these are the players that are on his team. And then we got the Atlanta Hawks with Human Highlight Reel, Dominique Wilkins, Kevin Willis, Doc Rivers. And then here, look at the Miami Heat. They have Glenn Rice, Ronnie Cycli, P.J. Brown, Dan Marley, Isaac Austin. And then the Charlotte Hornets, again, they didn't exist in the 80s, so I just gave them this roster. It's basically the default one from the 92-93 Hornets, because as we move along, into the 90s, that team will change a bit. And then the Utah Jazz with John Stockton, Karl Malone, Adrian Dantley, Mark Eaton, Daryl Griffith, Thurl Bailey is the squad they're running with over there. The Sacramento Kings have Kenny Smith, Otis Birdsong as well, Otis Thorpe, and then Eddie Johnson, and then just some other players. The Knicks, they got Patrick Ewing, Bernard King, Truck Robinson, Campy Russell, Mark Jackson, and then just some other players. The Lakers, they have Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Big Game James Worthy, Jamal Wilkes, Michael Cooper, Byron Scott, A.C. Green. So they have a stacked squad, obviously. And here's another Lakers team, and this one's got Kobe on it. We got Kobe Bryant, Rudy LaRusso, Dick Barnett, and then they got Nerlens Noel and just some other players, and that's what Kobe's working with as a rookie. And then the Orlando Magic, they have Nick Anderson, Scott Skiles, and then just some other random players because again they didn't exist in the 80s, but I had to fill out the roster with certain teams because again NBA 2K doesn't want to give the my eras to the Switch or PC. And now let's look at the Nets. They got Petrovic, Michael Ray Richardson, Buck Williams, Otis Birdsong. And then here's the Denver Nuggets. David Thompson, Dan Issel, Fat Lever, Kiki Vandeweghe, Byron Peck, Reggie Williams, Robert Pack. And then here's the Pacers. They got George McGinnis, a rookie Reggie Miller, Chuck Person, Don Buse. And then here, let's take a look at the Pistons. They have Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, Dennis Rodman, Kelly Tripucka, Bill Laimbeer, Vinnie Johnson, James Buddha Edwards. And then here's the Raptors. I put LeBron on this team, rookie LeBron. And they have Hank Gathers. Here's a unsung player. Muggsy Bogues, Charles Oakley, Alvin Williams, Kevin Willis. So this is the squad that LeBron's working with in the 80s. And then the Rockets, they have Hakeem Olajuwon, Calvin Murphy, Elvin Hayes. They got Ralph Sampson. So they got the Twin Towers, the original Twin Towers. Rudy Tomjanovich. And then just some other players that the team picked up. And then the Spurs, they got George Gervin, James Silas, Johnny Moore, Artis Gilmore, Avery Johnson. And then here's the Suns. They got Dennis Johnson, Walter Davis, Tom Chambers, Larry Nance, Alvin Adams, Jeff Hornacek, Tom Gugliotta. And then here's the Seattle Sonics. They have Gus Williams and Jack Sikma, Fred Brown, Dale Ellis, Xavier McDaniel, and then Detlef Schrempf, Nate McMillan. And then here's the Minnesota Timberwolves, Mikey J. That's my player. I put him in this league as well, playing for the Timberwolves, and he's running with Tom Gugliotta, Terrell Brandon, Christian Leitner, Alvin Robertson. Didn't play for the Timberwolves, but I wanted a shooting guard, so I put him on the team. Portland Trailblazers has got Clyde the Glide Drexler, Terry Porter, Jerome Kersey, Kiki Vandeweghe, Jim Paxson, Kevin Duckworth. And then the Golden State Warriors are running with Chris Mullin, Tim Hardaway, Mitch Richmond, Purvis Short, Sleepy Floyd, Manute Bol. And then the Wizards, they have Elvin Hayes, Spencer Haywood, Moses Malone, Bernard King, Jeff Malone. So they actually have a pretty solid team here with the Wizards. And they were a good team in the early 80s. So that's a real quick look at the rosters that we're running with there. And as I was saying, this is like a culmination of like the 80s players and stuff that are available in the game. I put them on, the teams that were appropriate. And I'm kind of starting in the early 80s here, and we'll move our way up. Let's see how far along we get with this game. This is NBA 2K23. It is not 2K24. I didn't see the point in buying the new game for essentially just a roster change, especially since they don't have the My Eras available. 2K, you need to work on that. It's only available on the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X versions, which the fact that it's not available on PC on Steam is inexcusable. 2K, do better. So I'm just continuing with last year's game, and that's how we're going to roll. So that was a look at the rosters. Now we're going to take a look at the Season 1 statistics, how it all went down. Here's a look at the Eastern Conference. And again, the Washington Wizards Well, here we'll start the Atlantic divisions. The Philadelphia 76ers with 66-16 won that division. Celtics did good as well. The Knicks made the playoffs, and the Nets all were able to make the playoffs out of the Atlantic division. LeBron on the Toronto Raptors only got 20 wins in the 80s, so not a great start for rookie LeBron there. Playing against these 80s squads. And then here in the Central Division, the Milwaukee Bucks 64-18 won the division. The Pistons went 48-34. Cavaliers 44-38. Pacers made the play-in with 34 wins. And rookie Michael Jordan only got 19 wins, so he didn't do hot either. The Southeast Division, the Wizards 67-15 got the top seed overall, and then the Hornets also made the division or the play-in out of this division. Now moving over to the West, we have the Southwest. The Phoenix Suns won this division with a record of 52-30. The Houston Rockets, they made the playoffs at 45 wins as well. And there's Steph Curry down in the gutter with 18 wins on his Grizzlies team. So no good for Curry either in year one. In the Northwest Division, the Jazz won the division with 54 wins. The Nuggets had 53. Trailblazers 51. Sonics 46. And then Mikey J's Minnesota Timberwolves made the play-in with 44 wins. So all teams out of this division, and then out of the Pacific Division, the Lakers won the division with 66 wins, followed by the Clippers, who put together a solid season as well, getting 60 wins. That's a pretty good turnaround for them. And then the Sacramento Kings, they got 32 wins and got in the play-in as well. And Kobe's Lakers team only won 13 games, so rookie Kobe didn't do that well either. So LeBron, Curry, Jordan, Kobe, and my player are all rookies, and Mike, my player, was the only one to make the play-in tournament. Even the rest of the teams just floundered in the league. So that's a look at how everything fared overall. Take a look at the conference records and everything. And again, the Washington Wizards got the top seed, followed by Philadelphia 76ers, Milwaukee Bucks, Boston Celtics, Detroit Pistons, New York Knicks, Cleveland Cavaliers, New Jersey Nets, and then the Pacers and Hornets made the play-in tournament. And you can see the Bulls, Raptors down there in the gutter. I guess LeBron outdueled Jordan for one extra win in Season 1. And then the Western Conference, Lakers won that one, 66 wins. The Clippers surprisingly got 60 wins. That's a good record for that team. And then the Utah Jazz, they're a solid team. They put together 54 wins. I'm not surprised by that. The Nuggets got 53. Suns got 52. Portland 51. Seattle 46. And then the Timberwolves, my team, made the play-in tournament, as did the Rockets. And there's Kobe and Curry down in the bottom of this one. And now we're going to take a look at the play-in tournament results. And here was the Seattle Supersonics going up against the Houston Rockets. And the Houston Rockets were able to pull out the victory. And here's a look at the stats. Calvin Murphy, Ralph Sampson all had good games for the Rockets. And now we're going to move on to the other play-in tournament game in the West, and it was the Sacramento Kings getting destroyed by Mikey J and the Timberwolves. Mikey J dropped 47 points, 10 rebounds, 0 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. Good shooting night overall, and just really gave it to the Sacramento Kings. They stood no chance as Mikey J gets one step closer to a rookie playoff berth. And now we're going to move on and take a look at the rest of the games. Here in the Eastern Conference, the Cavaliers beat the New Jersey Nets by 2 points. Tight game. Otis Birdsong for the Nets had a great game. Petrovic was solid as well, but not enough as the Cavaliers get the win. And they are moving on. And then the other play-in game, the Pacers get the victory over the Charlotte Hornets. Morning was strong for the Hornets, but just not enough. Chuck Person and Reggie Miller, they carried the way for the Pacers. And so now let's move on to the next kind of round 2 of the play-in tournament. And you can see that the Minnesota Timberwolves lose to the Seattle Supersonics by 4 points. Mikey J was huge again, 46 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 blocks, just 2 turnovers. Really good shooting day as well. He had it going on, but it wasn't enough. And the rookie Mikey J does not lead the Timberwolves to the playoffs, unfortunately. And then in the other game, the New Jersey Nets get the 4-point victory over the Pacers, so they are moving on to the playoffs. Drazen Petrovic led the way for them. Chuck Person led the way for the Pacers. And so that is it. The playoffs are set. And in round 1, game 1, the number 1 seed Washington Wizards handle the New Jersey Nets. And they take both games there. Pretty handily and are moving on to round 2. You see Bernard King went off in game 1 for the Wizards with 46 points. Huge game for him to lead them in game 1. And then in game 2, it just wasn't enough. And then we're going to move on to the Boston Celtics against the Detroit Pistons in the first round. And let's see, Bird was solid for the Celtics, but was not enough. Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars lead the Detroit Pistons over the Boston Celtics in game 1, 80-64. And then in game 2, see here in game 2, the Pistons kind of blow out the Celtics and get the 2-game sweep, because I'm only playing best of 3 for these playoffs because, it'll take forever. But Isaiah Thomas led the way. Joe Dumars was solid. Kelly Tripucka was solid as well. So the Pistons did eliminate the Boston Celtics. And here the Milwaukee Bucks, they destroy the New York Knicks in game 1. Ewing and Bernard King were solid, but wasn't enough. And then in the other game, in the other final series in first round, the Philadelphia 76ers dismantled the Cleveland Cavaliers. Dr. J was huge with 40 points and 9 rebounds for the Philadelphia 76ers. Wasn't even close. And then here in the Western Conference first round, let's see, in game 1, the Lakers get the handily victory over the Seattle Supersonics. Kareem led the way. And then in game 2, the Lakers kind of blow out the Sonics again. And they are moving on to round 2. The Seattle Supersonics just didn't have enough to hang with the Lakers. And there's not many teams that do in the 80s, honestly, so we can't really be surprised. In the Western Conference, the Lakers are always the team to beat. And then in the next round, the Denver Nuggets get game 1 over the Phoenix Suns, 109-103. Kiki Vandeweghe led the way for the Nuggets. And then in game 2, the Phoenix Suns come back. Walter Davis leads the way in that victory. And then in game 3, the Denver Nuggets come back and get the series. David Thompson leads the way in that one. And then this playoff matchup, the Blazers versus the Jazz. The Jazz get game 1 and and they get the sweep with Jazz come back and the Jazz win the series in 3 tough games. Sorry, I misspoke there. And then in the last first round matchup, we have the Rockets versus the Cavaliers. The Clippers. The Rockets get the game 1 victory. And then in game 2, the Clippers come back and blow out the Rockets. And then in game 3, Bob McAdoo leads the way, and the Clippers are going to round 2. Now we get into the semifinal round, and let's see, we got the Denver Nuggets against the Los Angeles Lakers, and in game 1, the Nuggets pull off the upset. Kiki Vandeweghe leads the way for them as they get the upset over the Lakers, and then in game 2, the Lakers come back, and then in game 3, the Nuggets pull off the upset and eliminate the heavily favored Los Angeles Lakers. And then in the next matchup, we got the Jazz versus the Clippers, and the Clippers blow the Jazz out in game 1. And then in game 2, let's see, the Jazz get the victory. And then in game 3, the Clippers pull it out. Bob McAdoo leads the way for them, and they are advancing to the conference finals. And then go to the East, and you got the Pistons versus the Washington Wizards. And in game 1, the Pistons get a close, nail-biting victory. And then in game 2, they get another close, hard-fought victory. Isaiah Thomas led the way in that game. So the Pistons are moving on. And now it is the 76ers versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Game 1, the Philadelphia 76ers destroy the Milwaukee Bucks. Dr. J leads the way with there. And then in game 2, the 76ers get the sweep over the Bucks with a close-fought victory. Sidney Moncrief was big for the Bucks, but Dr. J put in 44-6 and get the win over the Bucks. And then in the Eastern Conference Finals, the Pistons versus the 76ers. Dr. J has a big game 1, 35-5-1. And the Pistons just didn't show up in game 1. And then in game 2, the Pistons get beat up once again by the 76ers, and the 76ers eliminate them, and Dr. J is big again. And then the Western Conference Finals, the Nuggets against the Clippers, game 1. Bob McAdoo leads away for the Clippers, and they get the victory. And then in game 2, the Clippers get the sweep. And the Clippers are going to the NBA Finals against the Philadelphia 76ers. And in the finals, game 1, Dr. J leads the way with 30-6. And Moses Malone is huge with 19 and 11 boards. And they get the victory, 88-80. Just not enough for the Clippers against the Philadelphia 76ers. And then in game 2, the 76ers win handily. Dr. J leads the way again for them, and he brings home the finals MVP. And now we're going to take a look at the playoffs stats for this season 1. We're going to just take a look at the team that won it, the Philadelphia 76ers. And for these playoffs, Dr. J led the way with 35.4 points per game he averaged. Absolutely huge for him. Moses Malone averaged 14 points and also 11 boards. Charles Barkley, rookie Barkley, put in 11 points for the 76ers. And World B Free, he had a good playoff run, 10 points, averaging. Hershey Hawkins, starting shoot guard, averaging 7 points. Maurice Cheeks, solid as starting point guard. But yeah, the 76ers, they were definitely the best team in season 1 of this. So, that's interesting. And then we look at rebounds. And Moses Malone almost averaging 14 rebounds a game. Huge for him on the glass, the chairman of the boards. And so he easily led the way in the rebounding department. But Dr. J was no slouch in the rebounding department as well, averaging just shade under 6 boards per game for the 76ers. Take a second to breathe. Now, let's move on to some more of the statistics we got going on here. Just move along. I must have got distracted at some point. But you can see, here we go. Look at assists. Maurice Cheeks, we're going back to rebounds, and Barkley got 5.5 rebounds per game. Decent enough for rookie Barkley, but nothing amazing to scream from the mountaintops. And let's move on over to assists now. Oh, look at Daryl Dawkins. He got 4 rebounds as well, coming off the bench. And then not really much else to really speak on there as far as rebounding numbers go. So now we'll look at assists. Maurice Cheeks averaged 6 assists a game for the 76ers. Hershey Hawkins getting 3.3. Henry Bibby, decent enough assist numbers. Steals, Hershey Hawkins led the team in steals at 1.1. Nothing amazing there, to write home about. Blocks, look at it. Moses Malone averaging 4.7 blocks per game in the playoffs. Huge blocks numbers. Turnovers, everything's not too bad there. Here's the shooting percentages. Moses Malone really shot the ball well. Dr. J was really great in this playoff run as well. So, good shooting numbers there. And then from the 3-point line, Doug Collins only shot one and only made it. Dr. J, he's not a great 3-point shooter, but those numbers are decent for Dr. J. I'll take that any day of the week. Sorry. So that's pretty much it for all the important statistics, free throws. Nothing real amazing there. I'm good at shooting free throws, and I did play as the 76ers during this playoff run. And here's a little look at the minutes and stuff like that. We don't need to waste time with that. So, yeah, Dr. J, NBA Finals MVP of Season 1, no surprise, and a playoff run averaging 35.4 points per game. That's really good, and he really set the bar for all the future playoff runs, to see what kind of numbers, and stats that these players can pull in. He really set a really good bar here with this playoff run. So you got to give it up to Dr. J. And Moses Malone, like I said, he was, solid offensively and just cleaning up the glass, getting the blocks, just, had a great playoff run, was really unstoppable. Didn't run into another player that really gave him much of a trouble. But in all honesty, he didn't have to play Kareem because the Lakers didn't make it to the finals in Season 1. So that's it for Season 1. And so when I was doing this, I recorded the footage for Season 1 after the fact, so I don't have any actual gameplay footage to show you guys for Season 1, unfortunately. But I did, we're doing 2 seasons here, now we're moving on to Season 2, and I did start recording game footage for Season 2. So, we will get into some actual basketball and not just talking about stats the whole stream. But when we get, let's start by... Hold on, my mouse is being funny. We're going to take a look at Season 2 now. And for Season 2, the Lakers got 72 wins. Nuggets, Jazz, Phoenix Suns, Portland Trailblazers, Seattle Supersonics, Los Angeles Clippers had a bit of a downer year, but still made the playoffs. Minnesota Timberwolves ended up 500. And the Rockets and the Golden State Warriors both made the play-in game. And then Kobe's Lakers down there in the bottom only won 14 games. And Steph Curry's Grizzlies only won 17 games. Both are the bottom dwellers in Season 2 as well. Just can't seem to get out of the bottom, out of the cellar. They're having trouble competing against these teams in the 80's. So, that's interesting perspective. And then in the Eastern Conference, the Bucks take home the top seed, followed by the defending champion Philadelphia 76ers. Indiana Pacers put together a great year, winning 52 games. Washington Wizards win 50. New York Knicks won 46 games. Cleveland Cavaliers win 46 games as well. The Detroit Pistons, 46 games as well. The Charlotte Hornets made the playoff tournament with 42 wins. The Celtics finished 41-41, 500. So that's a down year for the Celtics, in all honesty. And then the Miami Heat make the play-in tournament as well. Jordan's Bulls, they won 30 games this year, but not enough to make the play-in tournament. So in 2 years in a row. And LeBron's Raptors, they only win 26 games, and they're both near the bottom of the Eastern Conference as well. So once again, 2 years in a row, it's really only been my created player, Mikey J, and the Minnesota Timberwolves that have really made much of an impression at all. We'll look at the individual divisions here and see the Minnesota Timberwolves 41-41, and then Pacific Division, the Lakers dominate. Southwest Division, it's the Phoenix Suns win that one. Rockets make the play-in tournament. Southeast Division, the Washington Wizards win that with a couple of teams, the Heat and the Hornets making the play-in tournament. The Milwaukee Bucks win the Central, but really strong here out of the Indiana Pacers. All the teams except for the Bulls make the playoffs there. And in the Atlantic Division, the defending champion Philadelphia 76ers win that division. And again, Boston has a bit of a downer year. And now we're going to look at the play-in tournament. And in Game 1, Mikey J gets his revenge on the Seattle Supersonics. They knocked him out of the play-in tournament last year. He was not to be denied this year. 56 points, 10 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 2 blocks, only 1 turnover. Just absolutely huge game to get the victory and sending the Timberwolves into the playoffs. And then here, the Golden State Warriors lose to the Houston Rockets. Rudy Tomjanovich leads the way for the Rockets in this play-in tournament game. And then over here in the East, in this play-in tournament, the Detroit Pistons dismantle the Charlotte Hornets. Isaiah Thomas is huge with 43 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists. And just the nothing on the Hornets could really get going and completely shut down there. And then in this game, the Boston Celtics destroy the Miami Heat. Larry Bird has 33 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists to lead the way over the Miami Heat as the Celtics are in the playoffs as well. And now here is the next round, and you see, despite losing to the Timberwolves, the Seattle Supersonics make the playoffs 2 years in a row by defeating the Houston Rockets, get that final playoff spot. And then the Boston Celtics have to win yet again to make the playoffs, and they do against the Charlotte Hornets. It's a little bit closer. Del Curry has a big game, but it's not enough as Larry Bird leads the Celtics to the playoffs with 41 points, 4 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block. And then here we start the first round of the playoffs, and we got the Lakers versus the Seattle Sonics. And the Lakers, they get the victory in Game 1. And then in Game 2, they get the sweep. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar leads the way for the Lakers as they get the sweep over the Seattle Supersonics. A little bit closer game there. And then in the next game, we have the Portland Trail Blazers against the Phoenix Suns. Game 1 goes to Phoenix. Larry Nance leads the way for the Suns. Game 2, we're still here. They're still here. Now here's Game 2. Portland Trailblazers come back and get the victory over the Suns in Game 2. And Kiki Vandeweghe and Kevin Duckworth lead the way for the Portland Trailblazers in Game 2 to force a Game 3. And then in Game 3, Portland gets the upset and beats the Phoenix Suns in a somewhat close game, and Kiki Vandeweghe and Clyde Drexler lead the way for the Portland Trailblazers as they're advancing to round 2. And then in the other first round matchup, we have the Utah Jazz against the Cleveland or the Los Angeles Clippers. The Clippers are the defending Western Conference champions, and they win Game 1 over the Jazz. Sidney Wicks and Nader lead the way for the Clippers. Then in Game 2, the Jazz come back and get the victory. Adrian Dantley and John Stockton lead the way in Game 2 for the Jazz. So we got a decisive Game 3 that is set up between the Jazz and the Clippers to see who advances and who is going home. And then in Game 3, the Utah Jazz pull it out, and they're moving on to round 2, sending the defending Western Conference champion Clippers home. Adrian Dantley and Karl Malone lead the way there for the Jazz. And so, yeah, there's the Jazz moving on. So the last first-round matchup in the West, we have the Denver Nuggets against the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Cinderella Minnesota Timberwolves. Game 1, Mikey J leads the way to victory with 48 huge points. And gets the upset victory in Game 1 over the heavily favored Denver Nuggets. And so they're moving on to round 2. And then in the East, we have The Boston Celtics taking on the number 1 seed Milwaukee Bucks, and in game 1 the Celtics blow out the Bucks, 43.7 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal for Larry Legend in game 1. And then in game 2, they blow them out once again, and they get the victory over the Milwaukee Bucks in 2 quick games. And then here you got the New York Knicks against the Washington Wizards. The Knicks get game 1, and Campy Russell and Patrick Ewing lead the way for them there. And then in game 2, the Knicks get the sweep, and they're moving on to round 2 with the big victory over this Washington Wizards. So it's not the Wizards' year, clearly. And then the Cleveland Cavaliers beat the Indiana Pacers in game 1, 110-91. Brad Daughtry, World Be Free lead the way for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And it's not enough for these young Pacers. And then in game 2, they complete the sweep, and they are moving on with the victory over the Indiana Pacers. Brad Daughtry and Mark Price lead the way in this one as they are moving on. And then the final first-round matchup, we have the Detroit Pistons taking on the defending champion Philadelphia 76ers. And Moses Malone has a big first game, but it is not enough. The Pistons win game 1 behind Joe Dumars' 31 points. Kelly Tripucka has 31 as well. Big games for those two in game 1, getting the upset victory over the defending NBA champions. And then in game 2, the Pistons complete the sweep and absolutely dismantle the Philadelphia 76ers. Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, Kelly Tripucka are all big in game 2. And the defending champions are going home. So both teams that won their conferences the year before are out of the playoffs. And now let's move on to round 2. And then in the first matchup, we got the Portland Trail Blazers against the Los Angeles Lakers. And the Trailblazers win game 1 pretty handily in LA. Terry Porter and Kiki Vandeweghe lead the way for the Trailblazers. Game 2, Big Game James comes in big for the Lakers and leads the way to victory in Game 2 in a close-fought game. Despite big effort from Terry Porter and Kiki Vandeweghe in Game 2 for the Trailblazers. And then in Game 3, the Lakers pull out a close one against the Trailblazers. Clyde Drexler comes up big for the Trailblazers, but it is not enough, and the Lakers are advancing to the conference finals. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has a big game here in Game 3. And then the other second-round matchup, we have the Utah Jazz taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves. And Daryl Griffith plays well for the Utah Jazz, but it is not enough as Mikey J continues his amazing playoff performance. 42 points, 15 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal to lead the T-Wolves to the victory over the Jazz. And then in Game 2, to complete the sweep, the Timberwolves beat the Jazz once again. Mikey J with 40 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. Alvin Robertson was huge as well. Really came alive in these playoffs as the second offensive threat for the Timberwolves. And so we're moving on to the Eastern Conference. We have the Boston Celtics against the New York Knicks. And the Celtics dismantle the Knicks here in Game 1. Not even close. Larry Legend puts in 42 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists. Kevin McHale has 16 points and 15 boards to lead the way for the Celtics in Game 1. And in Game 2, the Celtics complete the sweep. Bernard King has a strong game, but it is not enough. Robert Parrish puts in 22 points and 12 rebounds. Bird gets 16 points and 11 rebounds and 7 assists as the Celtics just dismantle the Knicks once again, and they're moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals. And then in the other matchup in Game 1, we have the Detroit Pistons against the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Pistons get the victory in Game 1. World Be Free is strong for the Cavaliers, but not enough as Isaiah Thomas goes for 37 points and 5 assists. Dumars is also strong with 27 points, and Kelly Tripucka puts in 24 as well to lead the Pistons to victory in Game 1. So that gets us caught up, and now we're gonna actually watch some actual footage. So we're gonna pick it up in the second round, and we have the Cleveland Cavaliers versus Detroit Pistons, Game 2. Winner go home time for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
This is Brian Anderson, joined by Grant Hill and Richard Jefferson. Alan LaForce will be our reporter from the sideline. We'll see the Cleveland Cavaliers taking on the Detroit Pistons. The Pistons on top, leading by 10. We've got more in store for you right after this.
It's the 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Hello again. Welcome to our postseason halftime show. Ernie Johnson along with the Diesel and the Jet. And guys, for the Pistons, they followed up their win in Game 1 with a solid performance here in the first half tonight. If they can hold on and win this game, they could go into Game 3 with very little pressure on themselves. Taking a look at the Pistons, Shaq, what you think?
The production they've gotten from their bench has been phenomenalistic. I don't know if that's a word, but it sounds good. As you know, depth is important to any team's success. They're demonstrating that tonight. And who knows, it might give the starters a kick in the pants. No one wants to be outshined.
Kenny, let's get your insight on Cleveland.
They got hammered. I mean hammered on the board. That tells a lot about this game. The heart has not been there. The sacrifice hasn't been there. I mean, they just don't want it.
And that does it for our halftime show. We now take you back to Kevin Harlan for the start of the third period.
You can see the Pistons are out to the lead in halftime of Game 2, up by 10, going into the third
Impressive
quarter.
16-point lead heading into the break. They just can't miss right now. Every shot they're taking, you assume, is going in. We'll be back in a moment.
And the Pistons are playing that suffocating defense, and the Cavaliers are having a hard time keep up, and the Pistons are pulling away 75-59 at the end of 3.
That's a very avoidable turnover. You gotta focus on the details.
And how about that replay? Man, you got to appreciate the hustle on defense.
You know that block has him and his teammates all pumped up. That is what
Everyone is on the same page.
And now a moment to present the New Balance Player of the Game.
Yeah, and this game really has his fingerprints all over it. He's been dominating and making it look effortless. It's always fun to watch someone just flat out take over like he's done here today.
It's a crucial moment. They put this game away in style.
And so the Detroit Pistons have won the series. And really, any win is a big win here in the postseason.
Yeah, every game counts now, and there's no second chances. So they must be pleased with the results.
That'll do it for this broadcast of the NBA Eastern Conference semifinals. This is Brian Anderson saying thanks for watching. So long and good night, everyone.
And the Pistons get the big win in Game 2 and are moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals. 109-83. Let's take a look at the stats from this game. Isaiah was huge with 44 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. Joe Dumars was big as well with 25 points. Vinny Johnson with 12 big points off the bench. Look at that, 17 rebounds for Bill Laimbeer, putting in work there. Rodman had 11 boards. So the Detroit Pistons defense got it done, and they had enough offense. Look at, again, 17 boards for Bill Laimbeer. Big game there. And, you know, Rodman with his 11 boards. James Wood-Edwards putting in good work off the bench. Isaiah led the team with 5 assists. And not much. Bill Laimbeer had 2 blocks. Not a whole lot to say there. Bill Laimbeer made a 3 in this game. So look at that, plus minus 31 plus minus for Isaiah. And now let's take a look at the Cavaliers. What kind of scoring do they get down? Mark Price had 17 points. Solid game for him. Brad Daughtry had 17 points. Hot Rod Williams had 16. Larry Nance 14. World Be Free 12. Decent games, just not enough in this one. Mark Price had 8 assists. World Be Free had 7. And then that is it for game 2. So the Pistons. So we're looking at the Minnesota Timberwolves versus Los Angeles Lakers in the West. Rookie sensation Mikey J going up in against the Showtime Lakers for a chance for the NBA championship. And then in the East, we have the Boston Celtics against the Detroit Pistons. So, I mean, so far in this Retro 80s playback, it's playing out pretty close to how you would expect. You know, we got the Lakers and Celtics in the mix. The Pistons are there. The only surprise is Mikey J's Minnesota Timberwolves team. And so now let's take a look at these games.
2K Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the NBA. Welcome fans, thanks for joining us for this Friday night edition of the NBA on 2K Sports. This is Kevin Harlan with Greg Anthony and Doris Burke. Also joining us from the sidelines, David Aldridge. We've got the Boston Celtics taking on the Detroit Pistons. Johnson, good.
Nice play.
Their lead is where it is because they've gotten good shots. A lot of good shots. And don't go away. We'll be right back.
Celtics up by 10 after 1 in Detroit.
That halftime deficit looks a lot more manageable when it's in single digits.
And so it's Boston in control with the 9-point lead to end the quarter. A terrific tempo and a great pace. The fast break has been a central part of their offense. We'll take a quick break and then back to the action here. The 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Hi again, everybody. Ernie Johnson alongside Shaquille O'Neal and Kenny the Jet Smith, and we're excited to be here for the Eastern Conference Finals. Taking a look at the Celtics, they've put themselves in decent shape to grab that all-important Game 1 victory. So far, they've clearly been the better team controlling the flow. By no means is it a runaway, but they've put themselves in a great position. And let's get your thoughts, big fella, on the Celtics.
Ball movement was a real factor. They played unselfishly with patience. Guys got shots in their favorite spots. When you get those high percentage looks, good things tend to happen.
And Kenny, what'd you think about Detroit?
Well, the best way that they can get back into this game is to show up their rebound. They need to prevent second chance points and fight. I mean, fight to get their own. If they could do that, this game's still within them.
And that should do it. With the second half about to begin, let's send you back to Kevin Harlan. Go back to Kevin Harlan. Go. Just go over there.
So the Celtics are up at halftime against the Pistons.
Strong defense, especially when it comes in the form of harsh rejection. Wow.
And that block was something. It's the playoffs in every possession and defensive style.
It's been an exciting game. Plenty of offense as we head to the fourth quarter. Celtics out in front, up by 6. We'll take a quick break, then get you back to the action.
And at the end of 3, the Pistons are making it close to 62-68. Can they get the victory at home in Game 1?
Because I love this pass. Such a great dish. That's what I call court vision.
Well, making the game easy for your teammates. All about putting them in a position to score. That's pretty.
Larry Bird with a nice dime there, getting the assist of the game.
And it's Parrish, and it's Johnson in at the point guard.
And as you know, it's what comes after that gives you some sense of what has changed.
Here's Lewis, and it is Lewis down.
And here, the Pistons take the lead.
That's a huge shot from Lewis. Man, does this guy know how to come up with the goods.
And the Celtics come back and tie the game behind the big dunk by Reggie Lewis.
On display with the Mobile One drive.
30 seconds to go, tied at 85. Oh, Isaiah with the turnover. Bird's got the ball. Alley-oop to Reggie Lewis. Too easy. 8-0 run for the Celtics at the end of the game.
Not having much success at all right now.
What do the Pistons got? Isaiah taking it to the hole. Ties it back up. 16 seconds to go. Tied at 87. What are the Celtics going to do? Parrish on top of the key. Pass it over to Larry Bird. He's out 3 3-point line. McHale with the screen. Bird takes it in and gets it. Celtics are up with 6 seconds to go.
To the screen and then gets the basket.
Time call.
Larry Legend. Isaiah's got the ball. He's got Kevin McHale on him. He gets past him. Oh, rejected by McHale. That is it.
Stuffed it and grabs the rock. The one-man stop, and so is Boston scraping by with the win. And you got to feel good about getting each game here in the postseason.
Kevin, each game is just so significant and magnified. This has got to feel really good.
And so this one is in the books. We hope you've enjoyed being with us for the Eastern Conference Finals. For Greg Anthony, Doris Burke, and David Olden, this is Kevin Harlan along with our terrific 2K Sports crew, thanking you for tuning in. So long and good night, everyone.
What a game by the Celtics, and Larry Legend putting in the shot to win it with a little under 6 seconds to go, getting the game winner. Isaiah was, he didn't shoot the ball great, but he had 29 points. Dumars had 23. Kelly Tripucka had 17. This is a game that could have gone either way, and the Celtics were able to get the victory. Rodman had 16 boards. Lambier was kind of quiet in this one. Isaiah had 6 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks. Kelly Tripucka, turnover is not really a problem there. The Pistons as a whole just didn't shoot the ball all that great in this one, unfortunately. And for the Celtics, Robert Parrish led the way with 16 points. Dennis Johnson had 15 points. Larry Bird only had 13 points in this game, but one of them was the big game winner down the stretch. Kevin McHale had 10 points. So no amazing numbers for the Celtics, but a solid team play all around. McHale had 15 huge boards. Robert Parrish was cleaning the glass as well with 11. Larry Bird had 7 rebounds. Larry Bird led the team with 7 assists. Dennis Johnson and Reggie Lewis were solid there. Bird also had 3 steals, 2 blocks for Kevin McHale as the Celtics take game 1 by 2 points in this hard-fought game. Tough loss for the Pistons in game 1 at home. And you see Reggie Lewis was 0 for 7 from behind the three-point line. And so there is game 1. And now we're going to move on to game 1 in the Western Finals, the Lakers versus the Timberwolves.
And the weekend is in full swing, and so is the NBA. Hey, thanks for joining us on 2K Sports. Along with Greg Anthony, Brent Berry, and sideline reporter David Aldridge, this is Kevin Hart. We've got the Minnesota Timberwolves taking on the Los Angeles Lakers.
That is on the floor here tonight. Not an easy fella to hold in check.
And he's got 14 points for the game.
Well, recognizing the size.
To end the quarter. They're playing a bruising game inside, and it's working for them. Back to the action in just a minute.
46. And now, the 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Halfway home, tonight's Western Conference Finals battle. Ernie Johnson, Kenny Smith, Shaquille O'Neal. We've had a great view of all of the action. Looking at the Lakers, they've put themselves in decent shape to grab that all-important Game 1 victory. So far, they've clearly been the better team controlling the flow. By no means is it a runaway, but they've put themselves in a great position. Shaq, what'd you think about the Lakers?
Their efforts in the paint have really paid dividends. It's been a focal point for them. See the difference in the game.
Kenny, let's get your insight on the Timberwolves.
Right now, they're shooting in the low 30s from the outside. In today's style of perimeter offense, that's not enough to score people to expect. They have to work on getting better quality shots.
Thanks for joining us, folks. We're now just a few minutes away from the start of the third quarter.
So Mike and Jay had a strong game 1 at half, but the Lakers are still out in front at halftime.
We've got Johnson. Worthy out there with Thompson. Then there's Scott, and it's Will.
Nice play by Terrell Brandon there.
It's been a fun game to watch. Lakers on top, up by 5. And coming up as soon as we return from break, the fourth quarter gets underway.
And at the end of 3, the Timberwolves are giving it all they got, only down by 5, 76-71. Can the Timberwolves get the huge road victory?
First points up on the board here in the fourth for the Timberwolves. And another quick foul.
And now only one away from being in the penalty.
And that's a block right there. He swats that ball away with some energy.
Candyman putting in work off the bench.
It's the playoffs, and every possession and defensive stop matters.
Well in hand.
Textbook, nice pass, great catch, even better finish.
Nice dime by Terrell Brandon.
This is a big playoff win for them, but what isn't Detroit big in the postseason?
Great. I really just love the composure with which they played tonight. It's easy to get too keyed up for postseason basketball, but they kept their heads and just went about the business of play.
That concludes this broadcast of the Western Conference Finals. For Greg Berry, Greg Anthony, and David Aldridge, this is Kevin Harlan along with our 2K Sports crew. So long, everyone.
Lakers win it 101-88. The Cinderella team of the Minnesota Timberwolves, led by Mikey J, is run into a roadblock known as the Los Angeles Showtime Lakers. Big Game James had a huge Game 1, 28 points. Kareem was solid with 15 points and 15 boards. Magic always doing what Magic does. It just, the amount of good players on this team had really gave the undermanned Timberwolves, team trouble. They just they have too many weapons. Mikey J can only do so much when he, it's basically, I don't want to say 1 versus 5, but a lot of times it feels that way. But really great all-around play for the Lakers. You got to give it to them, and they won Game 1 pretty handily. And here, let's look at the Timberwolves. Mikey J, 34 points, 9 boards, 1 assist, 1 steal, 2 blocks. So doing about the best he could do. Only shot 2 for 9 from 3. That's got to get cleaned up in Game 2 if the Timberwolves stand a chance. Terrell Brandon was really big in this game for the Timberwolves. The Lakers had a hard time matching up against him. He was so quick. And Alvin Robertson, he put in some good points, 4 for 9 from 3. He's definitely, the second offensive option game in and game out for this team. And unfortunately, the rest of the team is just overmatched by all the players that the Lakers have on their team. Mikey J led the team in rebounds with 9. And again, this is really was the problem here in Game 1. The Minnesota Timberwolves got to have some players do a better job on the boards. Terrell Brandon, like I said, he was great in this game. I can't complain about him. It's just it's the bigs, the 4 and 5 position for the Timberwolves. Really got to play better and match what the Lakers can do if they want to have any chance of making it to the NBA Finals here in Season 2. Now let's move on back to the Eastern Conference for Game 2 of Detroit versus Boston.
It's the NBA on 2K Sports. Hello, everyone. I'm Bryant Anderson, joined by Grant Hill and Clark Kellogg. We'll hear from reporter Allie LaForce in a moment. We've got the Detroit Pistons taking on the Boston Celtics.
Takes the hit.
They're not afraid to put his body on the line either. Took a shot for the team in that situation.
And a second look at that rejection, taking no prisoners on defense there.
Oh, you could feel the playoff intensity in that block. He's playing some extra aggressive defense out there.
And then it's on to the second quarter after this.
And the Pistons are down by 1 at the end of the first quarter, 20-19. Boston's at home, though. So Detroit's got a tough road ahead.
8 lead changes in the first half. Unbelievable.
Yeah, both sides digging in for what looks successful getting the ball inside and finding those great looks.
Good drive to the hole by Dumars with the reverse layup there. Nice play, Joe D.
Joe Dumars doesn't take any possessions off defensively, and I've got a lot of respect for for how he gets after it at that end of the floor.
And so it's Detroit closing out this quarter with a 7-point lead. What has them in front right now, by and large, they're taking great shots. Back after this.
And the Pistons are up at halftime in Boston. Joe Dumars is amazing in that first half.
Hi again, everybody. Ernie Johnson alongside Shaquille O'Neal and Kenny the Jet Smith, and we're excited to be here for the Eastern Conference Finals. Looking at the Pistons, after falling into a 1-0 hole to start the series, they look to be getting back on the right track here tonight. And it's crucial that they do hold on to this halftime lead, because falling behind 2-0 would leave them with a very steep hill to climb. Taking a look at the Pistons, Shaq, what did you think?
They're going to work in the paint. They doing a great job. This portion of their offense was generated inside. Really outperformed their opponent in that aspect. I expect the defense to pack it in a little more in the second half and try to force those guys to stay outside.
Kenny, how'd you think the Celtics were playing?
Well, the effort hasn't been there in terms of rebounding the ball. They're getting outworked in that part of the game. But you got to be more physical to turn this thing around. I don't know if they have the personnel to do that.
And look at that, 24 points at halftime for Joe D.
And that's a wrap for our halftime show. The third quarter just about to get started.
Joe D he was virtually unstoppable in that first half. If he keeps it up, the Pistons could be tying up the series.
Well, they get one to drop. A little relief after 4 straight misses to start
For the third quarter, both teams scoring well as we head to the fourth. Celtics out in front, up by 8. And we're coming right back. Be sure to stay with us as we get set for quarter number 4.
And the Celtics take charge in the third quarter, up 65-57 over the Pistons at home. Pistons got a big road ahead of them.
A remarkable find. He put his court vision on full display.
Yeah, and with the accuracy to go along with that vision. I mean, he put the ball in the absolute perfect spot. That's how you orchestrate it.
Dennis Johnson with the dime there.
Thomas is not afraid of attacking inside. Really good work there.
And no lack balance, player of the game.
Boy, how about the high percentage he shot from the floor? I mean, come on now. It got to a point where you just assumed every shot he took was going to find the bottom of the net. That's how locked in he was all game long.
And the Boston Celtics will move on.
And you can see the elation on their faces. I mean, not just happiness, but pure excitement and joy to be headed to the NBA Finals.
And it's been exciting for us to watch their progress throughout the season.
And now they're so close, BA, to completing their mission. It's easy to look ahead, but winning the East is such a major accomplishment in and of itself. So take the time to cherish this moment. It doesn't come around every year.
But the turnaround is quick. With the finals, they'll be here before they know it. And so this one is in the books. We hope you've enjoyed being with us for the Eastern Conference Finals. For Clark Kellogg, Allie LaForce, and Grant Hill, this is Brian Anderson, and we'll see you next time.
And the Celtics have cashed their ticket to the NBA Finals with the big win over the Detroit Pistons at home. My Pistons gave it all they had in this game, made it close, but it just wasn't enough. Larry Bird and the Celtics are going to their first NBA Finals. And here they are getting their Eastern Conference Championship trophy. But they got Reggie Lewis holding up the trophy, which is interesting, but nevertheless, the Celtics win it 83-77. For the Celtics, Dennis Johnson actually led the way offensively with 19 points. Larry Bird had 18 points. He didn't shoot the ball all that well in this one, but, they got the win. Robert Parrish was huge in this game, 15 points and 14 rebounds. Reggie Lewis, he put in a decent enough game with 13 points for the Celtics. Len Bias with 8 points off the bench for the Celtics. And Kevin McHale only had 6 points, but he did have 13 big boards as well. Take a look at rebounds. Like I said, Parrish led the way, and McHale. Bird was solid as well with 6 boards. And then assists. Dennis Johnson had 5 assists. Larry Bird had 3. Reggie Lewis had 2. looks like Danny Ainge had 2 as well. Steals, Robert Parrish only had 1. Blocks, and so again, and then here let's look at the Pistons. Joe Dumars had 32 points, but he had 24 of them in first half. He only had 8 points in the second half. Wasn't enough. Isaiah Thomas only had 24 points on a poor shooting game in this one, unfortunately. Kelly Tripucka had another poor shooting game as well, only 11 points. And Vinny Johnson only 6 points off the bench. Rebounds, Dennis Rodman was huge on the boards, pulling in 17 boards. But unfortunately, Bill Laimbeer was completely overshadowed by Robert Parrish in this series. And then assist numbers here, steals. But yeah, that's unfortunately my Pistons team. They are going home. And like I said, I was playing as this team. But I didn't have enough to get past the Boston Celtics in this one, unfortunately. So there it is. The Celtics advanced to the NBA Finals. And then the other matchup, we got game 2 between the Wolves and the Lakers with a berth in the NBA Finals on the line. Let's go.
It's live coverage of the NBA on Monday night. Thank you for joining us here on 2K Sports. I'm Kevin Harlan, joined by Greg Anthony and Richard Jefferson, with David Aldridge roaming the sideline. We've got the Los Angeles Lakers taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves. Worthy.
Look at that by Big Game James.
And the insane peripheral vision there. If anyone's open,
Tom Gugliotta just got posterized.
He's going to find you.
Distribution. This is the kind of team chemistry that you love to see.
Lays it up off the glass.
And just look at the grace, the agility. These guys can keep this up.
There will be some letdown at some point. But these attention, the focus, finding a way to make it work inside.
And that last look brought to you by another glance at that powerful rejection.
And this is postseason play at its finest, refusing to give up shots here in the playoffs.
Magic with the big rejection on Terrell Brandon.
Los Angeles Lakers. As the quarter comes to a close, they've set the tone. They love their tempo. They're going to be very tough to stop. And we'll be back with you shortly.
It's the 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Hello again. Welcome to our postseason halftime show. Ernie Johnson along with the Diesel and the Jet. Taking a look at the Lakers. They followed up their win in Game 1 with a solid performance here in the first half tonight. If they could hold on and win this game, they could go into Game 3 with very little pressure on themselves. And taking a look at the Lakers, Shaq, what you think?
They wouldn't be ahead without the numbers they've gotten from the bench, providing major contributions, especially at the offensive. He's taking a lot of pressure off the starters. What a luxury to have a second unit that can produce.
Kenny, let's get your input on the Timberwolves.
Well, it's never fun. You're playing against the team that's on fire. The team was on fire. They showed effort on defense, but it didn't matter. They couldn't get the stops. I don't think the opponent can sustain this kind of shooting.
And that's going to do it for us here. The second half of action is coming your way.
So there is the first half, and the Lakers are up 16.
I love the spirit he's shown tonight, particularly on the offensive end or for yourself.
And looking at that replay again, just a big-time block right there.
And this is postseason play at its finest, refusing to give up shots here in the playoffs.
You got to make the extra pass. So being a team that will go so far in this league.
And as we end the third quarter, a double-digit deficit will make it tough to come back. Lakers lead by 12. And fourth quarter basketball will be coming your way on 2K Sports right after this.
It was a rough third quarter for the Timberwolves. Cinderella is running out of time in these playoffs.
I like the fact we get to see this pass one more time. A magnificent feed, and you love to see your off-guard taking over the playmaking duties with this much skill.
Not just playing selflessly, but also making a smart decision with the ball.
Lead by 16.
And obviously his momentum from the last game has carried over here tonight.
And the Los Angeles Lakers will move on.
You know they had to battle through that very tough Western Conference, and they were able to survive the test and earn a trip to the finals.
From day one, this was their goal. Make it to the finals. But really, this is just the beginning for them.
Exactly. And, you know, they'll take a moment to kind of bask in victory here, but it won't be a long one. They know they've got a very tough opponent coming for them out of the East, and they're going to get straight to business in terms of prep for the finals.
Still, they get to celebrate tonight, and they've earned it as champions of the West. That concludes this broadcast of the Western Conference Finals. This is Kevin Harlan saying thank you for tuning in. So long.
And with that, the Lakers advance to the NBA Finals against the Boston Celtics. And let's give it up for the season that these Minnesota Timberwolves have. They are, as far as roster goes, they are completely undermanned going up against teams like the Lakers and whatnot that are in this 80s. So give Mikey J credit for getting him to the Western Conference Finals. But it's not enough to run in against the Showtime Lakers, Magic, Kareem, James Worthy. It's all just too much. And here, let's take a look at the stats. Terrell Brandon had a great game. He really played well against the Lakers. They had a hard time slowing him down. He was a little too fast for him. Mikey J really struggled in this game. His worst game of the playoffs, in all honesty, came when the team needed him the most. Just shot the ball really poorly. Alvin Robertson, he also had a terrible game shooting the ball when he was needed the most. So this Timberwolves team, like I said, the Cinderella has the pumpkin has, or the carriage has turned back into a pumpkin for these Minnesota Timberwolves. But nevertheless, they had a great run. I'm really happy with how they played. Some of the teams that they beat along the way, like the Utah Jazz, they're definitely better than the Timberwolves, but Mikey J was able to do enough to get a victory in those games, just not enough when you're running into the juggernaut that is the Los Angeles Lakers. But again, great season, guys. Let's see what happens next year. And then for the Lakers, Byron Scott had a big game in this one, really shot the three well, was just a dagger after dagger. Big game James, 16 points and 14 boards. Big game for him. Magic Johnson, he had a big game as well, 16 points, 5 rebounds, but he did have 11 assists and was just controlling the action as well for the Lakers. But, you know, again, that move, that dunk that James Worthy had, that's probably the play of the playoffs here this year. Just an absolutely stellar. Here's a look at the rest of the team. And then for rebounds, big game James with 14 boards. That was huge for him. He really... The rebounding battle was won by the Lakers quite handily, and then 11 assists for Magic, and then it was just, again, so many good players on this team, and just the Timberwolves did not have enough. So here we're looking at the NBA Finals between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Boston Celtics. You knew it probably would come down to this. It was the 80s of the NBA. So let's go.
Hello, basketball fans. You've got it on 2K Sports as we get set to bring you exciting NBA action. I'm Bryant Anderson, joined by Hall of Famers Doris Burke and Grant Hill, and the fourth member of our crew, reporter Allie LaForce. We've got the Boston
just taking it right to the rim, and no one was there to greet us.
I think defensively, that is not the way you
Boston Celtics finishing the quarter with an 8-point lead. Hearing in control, can still use a little more of a function to feel totally comfortable in this one. Time for a quick break, then back to the action.
And look at that. At the end of 3 quarters, the Boston Celtics are out in front in Los Angeles, 54-46, looking to take the Game 1 lead and be 1 win away from an NBA championship.
One-on-one, forcing bad shots, and it's really hurting this offense.
And now let's take a look at the New Balance player with Boston easily grabbing this one. And they start out the postseason with a bang, a big-time victory.
The attitude they came out with was aggressive. They wanted to set the tone from the jump, and they did just that.
So that's a wrap for the first game of the NBA Finals. For Allie LaForce, Grant Hill, and Doris Burke, I'm Brian Anderson saying thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
And look at that big 20-point victory for the Boston Celtics in Game 1 against the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers got stunned by the Eastern Conference champion Celtics in this one. Take a look at the box scores. Byron Scott led the way, but it was just an all-around poor offensive performance by the Lakers in this one. And in full transparency, I didn't play these games. I just let the computer decide who was going to be the champion this year around, since it was the Lakers versus Celtics. So you're going to see the scoring numbers be a little bit down here in the finals. But, yeah, here's a look at all the statistics for the Lakers and everything. And we'll move on over to the Celtics. Robert Parrish was huge. 14 points and 18 boards for the Celtics. And he really carried them to victory here and completely outclassed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in Game 1. If he continues to play this way, then the Celtics are going to be taking home the NBA championship here in Season 2. So Kareem better step it up because the Chief is coming for him. And so that's Game 1. Now we're on to Game 2.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us on 2K Sports. NBA action is coming up. This is Kevin Harlan, joined by Greg Anthony, Steve Smith, and on the sideline, David Aldridge. We've got the Los Angeles Lakers taking on the Boston Celtics.
Just look at the grace, the agility, versatility that Jabbar brings to the center position. Can beat you in so many ways.
Great defense there by Kareem. Gets the rebound, the outlet pass, and he runs down the floor. I mean, just look at this overall play here by the captain. Goes down the floor, gets into the low block, asks for the ball. They don't give it to him. He makes the move. And gets the ball in the low block on the other end. Backs up McHale. Sky hook. And it's in. Captain putting in work.
This one.
And made possible by a heads-up play defensively.
Finished off by Worthy.
And this sort of awesome dunk is one of the reasons this team is in charge of this game.
Well, there's a swagger out there. You can see it in the quarters as we reach halftime. Celtics lead by 4. And we'll be back for the second half following the break. Keep it right here on 2K Sports.
4-point lead for the Celtics at halftime.
Sports halftime show.
They're 1/2 away from a
Hello
championship.
again. Welcome to our postseason halftime show. Ernie Johnson along with the Diesel and the Jet. Taking a look at the Celtics, they've played their hearts out tonight, trying to take a 2-0 lead in this championship series. We'll see if they can seal the deal in what should be a highly competitive second half. Kenny, what's your take on Boston so far?
We have to recognize their bench play. Sometimes we overlook the second half. Tonight, they've been the key. The coaching staff has got to be loving this. Getting that extra boost is huge.
And Shaq, what do you think about the Lakers?
Well, a lot of their points came in transition. They dictated the pace of the game. It was a fast pace. Put the defense back on its heels. I say keep attacking the second half. Do not slow down.
Thanks for joining us, folks. We're now just a few minutes away from the start of the third quarter.
1/2 away from a championship for the Boston Celtics. Can they get it done? Second half at home.
He's been the aggressor on the offensive glass.
That was a second look at our Mobile One drive. And now let's take a look again at that incredible rejection.
Well, they didn't make it this far by giving up easy ones, and now their defense is in overdrive.
Coming on to the 12 now for the Lakers.
Man, just adding insult to injury. He just waltzes inside.
And now let's take a look at the New Balance player of the game, James Worthy.
Plain and simple, his scoring is what made him our pick tonight. Even when the D's given him all their attention, they just have not been able to contain him. If they backed off him for 1 second.
So the Lakers take the win. And you got to feel good about getting each and every game here in the postseason.
Thank you, everyone, who joined us tonight.
It's just so
we hope you had a great time, and we'll be back to see us again soon. Have a safe trip home.
That concludes Game 2 of the NBA Finals. For Steve Smith, Greg Anthony, and David Aldridge, this is Kevin Harlan thanking you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
So the Lakers go into Boston and get the Game 2 victory and are heading home to Los Angeles, all tied 1-1. Winner of that game is the NBA champion. Of course, between the Lakers and the Celtics, it's got to come down to a decisive game. Robert Parrish was huge again in Game 2 with 17 big points, 16 boards again. Larry Bird, he really struggled shooting the ball in this game. Only 13 points, and the shooting numbers were atrocious. Kevin McHale, he needed to do a little bit more. Just not enough all around for the Boston Celtics in this one. Parrish and McHale were great on the boards, but the rest of the team didn't really show up on the rebounding department. Assists and steals, nothing to write home about there. Again, it was the poor shooting of Larry Bird that really hurt the Celtics in this one. James Worthy was huge in this game, 24 points and 7 rebounds for big game James to stave the Lakers off from elimination. Kareem was better, still got outplayed by the Chief, but it didn't matter because Worthy was so big in this one. Byron Scott was solid. Magic was solid across the board as well. And rebounds, Kareem only had 8 boards. Again, he got outplayed by the Chief in this one, but it didn't matter. And assists, Magic did have 8 strong assists. So that is it for the Lakers as we head back to LA tied 1-1.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to 2K Sports and another exciting edition of NBA Ball. Welcome, everyone. Courtside with 2 ex-NBA stars, Grant Hill and Brent Barry. I'm Bryant Anderson. We've got Allie LaForce on the sidelines tonight as well. We've got the Boston Celtics taking on the Los Angeles Lakers.
That's unfortunate.
And that streaking rack attack is the Los Angeles Lakers looking in total control with this 17-point advantage as the buzzer sounds. They've done well to disrupt the opposition, playing inspired defense. We'll be right back with you shortly.
And the Lakers come out strong in the first quarter of Game 3 and dismantle the Celtics 23-6. This quarter alone might be too much for the Celtics to
not
recover.
Getting old here, seeing him make that lead pass with perfect timing.
To take another view of that huge swat.
You know that block has him and his teammates all pumped up. That is what playoff basketball is all about.
Chiefs still putting in work for the Celtics.
Nails the buzzer beater! Are you kidding?
Makes his selection just in time. Well done.
Yeah, it's almost like he's playing with a wristwatch there. He knew the time, he executed.
And so it's the Los Angeles Lakers up 15 points as this quarter concludes. Their defensive efforts have paid off, effectively shutting down the opposing offense. And more NBA action on 2K Sports coming your way right after this.
And the Lakers are up big at halftime.
The 2K Sports Halftime Show.
Hey again, Ernie Johnson with Shaquille O'Neal and Kenny the Jet Smith. The NBA playoffs are happening, and we're happy to have you here for the halftime show. Taking a look at the Lakers. They split the first 2 games of this championship series, but tonight they're leaving nothing to chance. What a tremendous lead they've built here in the first half. What you think, Kenny, about what we saw from the Lakers?
Man, this was a ball inside. Shaq, I know you like this. And guys were sacrificing their bodies, making plays through contact, just wearing a hard hat. That's how this game's gotten out of hand so far.
And Shaq, what are your thoughts on Boston?
Well, they're not trying to get shot. That starts with their ball movement. Too much hero ball. You need to sharpen up the attack. More motion, quick cuts, get the ball inside. There's no way they come back with that time.
And that should do it. With the second half about to begin, let's send you back to Kevin Harlan.
There's no way the Lakers can lose this game at this point. They're up by too much. They're not going to just give it back to Boston.
And here's the mobile one drive. A great move to get right to the cup.
Yeah, a double-digit.
And so it's Los Angeles. A huge 24-point lead for them. It hasn't taken them too many shots to get their points. They're winning with efficiency. Back to the game after this break.
And the Celtics are just unraveling here in the final game, the decisive game. And the Lakers are taking
that feed. Zero chance to stop that.
That's what great passing will do for you right there, dissecting the defense with that play.
Great play by Jamal Wilkes there on the dot.
Here's Scott, and it's flushed down.
It's a living highlight reel.
Seriously, that could end up being one of the best dunks of the year.
Passes, unselfish play. You have to appreciate this kind of offense.
And we just had to see that moment. And there it is. The Los Angeles Lakers have won it all.
The Lakers, 71.
Well, this is a historic moment for these players and that coaching staff. And trust me, they're going to enjoy every minute of what's coming to them. A night they will never forget the rest of their lives.
Hey, it's the ultimate accomplishment, right? This team has leaned on its solidarity all year, Grant.
You know, B.A., when guys want to play for one another, the sum becomes greater than its parts. This club really bonded together in the face of adversity, time and time again, standing tall as one.
Well, it's been a beautiful thing to watch. And a special thanks to everyone out there from 2K Sports. We couldn't make it happen without you. Good night and be well.
And there it is. The Los Angeles Lakers have won the championship in season number 2. So they get their first championship in the 80s. So now Philadelphia 76ers got a ring, and now the Los Angeles Lakers got a ring. In our retro 80s playback, Magic Johnson wins finals MVP for the Lakers. Didn't play out of this world, but was just solid every game and brought home the MVP trophy. Well deserved there for the Lakers. Celebration is going on, and they are the NBA champions in season number 2. Now let's take a look at the box scores. Byron Scott led the way in scoring in this one with 15 points. James Worthy, he was also pretty big with 12 points. Again, the computer played both these games, so that's why the scoring numbers are going to be a little bit down. Magic Johnson, again, he was just solid in all of these games, nearly a triple-double. As we get a look at the rest of the scores there, the points for all the players on the Lakers. Again, nothing to really write home about, but they got the victory and all the players played well. Kareem, 10 points and 9 boards. Magic with 11 points, 8 boards, and 9 assists. Again, almost a triple-double. And then assists, Magic led the way with the 9 dimes, obviously. Steals, nothing much there. Blocks, nothing much there. So the Lakers outclassed the Celtics in the finals, and here Robert Parrish again showed up big, and I would say he outplayed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in this finals. But Larry Bird, he came up small in the NBA finals. He was great earlier in the playoffs, but really, just couldn't find a shot here in the finals and really cost his team. And that's why the Celtics are not champions here in Season 2. Look at the rebounding numbers. Parrish again was big. Mikal got good boards, but just not enough on the offensive end. Assists, steals. Bird did have 2 steals. But again, his shooting numbers are what really hurt the team here. Just didn't get enough shots to fall. And the Los Angeles Lakers are the NBA champions in Season 2. And now we're going to just got one more thing to show on this stream before we get out of here. And we're going to take a look at the playoff stats for the final 4 teams. And see, for these playoffs, Mikey J did average 38 huge points per game, but he was up over 40 before the Western Conference Finals. The Lakers really, put a lockdown there. Alvin Robertson, huge playoffs, 21.5 points per game, second leading scorer for them. Terrell Brandon was also a great point guard, really chipped in and played well for the Timberwolves. But it was just the rest of the team, Tom Gugliotta, Christian Laettner and stuff. They just could not get enough done for this team to really get into the, upper echelon. Rebounds, Mikey J led in rebounds. Assists, Terrell Brandon, over 8 assists per game. Steals, Mikey J led with under 1. Mikey J led in blocks. He controlled the stats here and, really did about all he could do for this team to get him to the Western Conference Finals, in all honesty. We'll take a look at some of the shooting numbers and everything. 3-point percentage. Look at Alvin Robertson, 47% from 3. Just shot the ball great and amazing in the earlier rounds of the playoffs. Struggled to shoot against the Lakers. Mikey J, 32%. Should have been better. And then for the Celtics, Bird led the way with them with 21.2 points per game. He really was up there well into the upper 20s and 30s earlier in the playoffs, but came down because of the conference finals and NBA finals. Parrish was really the best player, a most consistent player, I should say, for the Celtics overall. McHale, he needed to do a little bit better offensively, if I'm honest. Defensively, he was strong, just not enough offensively. And then rebounds, look at that, 14 rebounds for the Chief. Kevin McHale, like I said, almost 12. Bird was solid on the boards. Assists, Dennis Johnson, solid. Steals, Bird, just under 1. Blocks, Robert Parrish led the way there. We'll take a look at the shooting numbers. 64% for Robert Parrish. And then, like I said, Bird was shooting the ball really good earlier in the playoffs, but it came down as the playoffs went along. 3-point percentage. This is really Larry Bird's stat, and again, as the season went along, playoffs went along, he went down. For the Lakers, Big Game James led the team in scoring with 19.4. Kareem was solid with 16 points. Magic only 12.5, but he was filling up the stat sheet overall, and of course was the Finals MVP. Jamal Wilkes was really solid as well. Byron Scott was solid. Michael Cooper. See, they just have a lot of good players on this team. They're a difficult team. If you only got 1 or 2 good players, you're gonna have a hard time beating this Lakers team. Over 8 boards a game for Kareem, 7 for Worthy, almost 6 for Magic. Assists, Magic with over 10 assists per game. Jamal Wilkes with 5, Byron Scott with 4.5. Byron Scott getting a steal. Kareem with a 1.7 blocks per game, and we'll take a look at the shooting numbers. Kareem, Worthy, Magic had a good shooting playoffs as well. 3-point percentage, 45% from Byron Scott. That's really great help for him shooting. 38% for Magic. That's not bad 3-point shooting out of him. And then now we'll take a look at the Detroit Pistons. Isaiah Thomas put in work with over 30 points per game in these playoffs. Really did about all he could do for the Pistons, get them to the Eastern Conference Finals. Joe Dumars was huge in these playoffs for the Pistons, 27.8 points per game. Those are just stellar numbers for Joe D. Kelly Tripucka, I can't complain about the production I got out of him either. Almost 20 points per game out of him. Really solid production at the small forward position. And then Vinnie Johnson coming off the bench with 12 big points off the bench. Can't complain. Bill Laimbeer could have done a little bit more offensively. Rebounds, Rodman was great on the boards with over 14. Laimbeer was solid with 10.5. I can't complain about his rebounding numbers. He just, when he got up against Robert Parrish and stuff, he just kind of shrunk in the moment. Assists, Isaiah Thomas, almost 6 assists per game. It's good to look at the rest of the assist numbers. Steals, Dumars just under 1 steal. Blocks, Laimbeer getting 2 big blocks per game. Can't really gripe about that out of him. And then, let's see, field goal percentage. Dumars, he really shot well earlier in the playoffs. He can't really say about anything bad about how he shot the ball. Isaiah, he struggled against the Celtics, but other than that, he was really good overall. Kelly Tripucka, again, I can't complain about his production whatsoever. Did really well there. 3-point percentage, 45% for Kelly Tripucka. Dumars, this was the one area I wish he would have been a little bit better in, was shooting the ball from 3. Well, there it is, folks. There is my basically Season 1 and Season 2 of my NBA 2K Retro 80's Playback. You know, I've already got Season 3 set up, and, you know, when I'm done playing all the games, you know, I'll do another stream and get back to that. But I think the next time I do one of these streams, you'll probably see me playing some Madden again. Well, there it is, folks. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you came, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. And I will see you guys all on the flip side. And, you know, make sure you hit the like and all that good stuff on the way out, everybody. Later.
Hey, thanks for watching. And don't forget, we got merch store. If you want to take a little piece of the show with you, you can get it right here. We got everything. You want some Mikey J stuff? We got the Mikey J Productions for you. So take a chance and stop by. We'll take care of you.